All right, guys. If you read the description of our talk, you'll know that we want input from you guys just as much as we want to tell you what we're doing. So we're going to go through a little practice to get things started. We're giving away T-shirts for your input, so go ahead and take a crack at this question. It's not a trick question. You answer, you get a T-shirt, so go for it. Well, there's that too. Make sure you see us afterwards. I mean, jokes count, so. Plus, we have more T-shirts than there are people in here, so. Anybody else? Yeah. Opportunity, okay. Well, the opportunity to get those things, you ask for those things, name, birth date, social security number. And that's kind of what we're here to talk about, is helping people protect against the evil people getting those things. We are the Good Samaritan Identity Protection Project, or we came up with the idea anyways. I'm Zack. This is John. He prefers to be called Sternstizzle.
Only at DerbyCon.
Yeah. Or anywhere else you see him. I'm not going to spend much time telling you about us. We have bios on the DerbyCon page. We work for a hospital. We have like 20 years experience between the two of us doing IT and InfoSec. We have certifications, degrees, all that stuff you don't really care about. At this point in the conference, I assume you all have heard the disclaimers. This is not related to work. It's our opinions, et cetera, et cetera. Participate at your own risk. So what is the GZIP, or the Good Samaritan Identity Protection Project? This is kind of just an idea, and we don't want people to get confused that it's like an organization that you belong to. Despite the fact we have a .org, and we couldn't find .idea, so it's just an idea. We're not doing it to make money. We don't plan on selling anything ever. We don't plan on becoming a not-for-profit, a 501c3, or anything like that. We will not take any donations. We're just doing it to help people. We will let you buy us beer. That's fine, but no money. And we're just, I kind of already said, we're just trying to find information online, searching, Google hacking, whatever you want to call it, and just help the people get it taken down. And so kind of building a project around that, and building up resources online, tutorials, so that they can easily accomplish that task. Why we're doing it? So I mentioned we work at a hospital together. And I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, maybe more, we did an exercise just to find what sensitive information we could find about our hospital, the healthcare organization we work for, on the internet. And what we found was, amongst other things, some CVs of some of the physicians that included all 3 of those things that were on the first screen. So their full name, their birthday, and their social security number, along with stuff like their wife's name and birthday, kids, where they lived, everything about the person. Definitely enough to steal their identity. Around that same time, I had a childhood friend that posted on Facebook, like everybody does, that his wife was pregnant. And so naturally he put the ultrasound picture up, and same thing. It was social security number, full name, birth date right there for everybody to see. We did some subsequent searching, because curious minds do that. And we found that this is not just an issue for the hospital we work for. It's not just an issue for doctors, and it's not just an issue for Gen Y pregnant ladies. There's a lot of this out there, and we started to think that instead of just looking at it and laughing, how could they do this? This is stupid. It was like these people need to be helped. And then actually the day before the CFP closed for DerbyCon, I was sitting in church, and the guest speaker was talking about the Good Samaritan in Luke 10:27, where it says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." Goes on to tell about how the Samaritan comes across the Jew, and the background is Jews and Samaritans hated each other, but he still helped him out, not for profit, just because of love. And so that's when it became more of a conviction. I talked to John and Chris, who couldn't be here. He was supposed to be here talking to us, but he couldn't make it. So we submitted to the CFP and started working on the project. Besides that, and maybe you don't share my convictions, but it's fun. It's like a scavenger hunt. You can sit around on your computer and do a scavenger hunt for this information and help somebody in the process. It can put hacking back in a positive light, and everything I'm sure you hear in mainstream media is that hackers are basically out to kill you or steal your identity, and I'm pretty sure everybody in this room knows that that's not the case. They took the term, they took the term hacker and made it into something bad. And if nothing else, for the people that we notify, it can show them that not all hacking is bad. And it feels good. I mean, it's kind of cheesy to say it, but when you help somebody and they say thank you, it kind of makes you feel good about it. So Stern Stills is going to take over.
Okay, so what have we done? What are we doing? We have a basic website. By basic, I mean like 1990s website. So it just has basic information on it, who we are, what we do, and it also has information on notifications that we can send out to people. So basically what you can do on the website is you can, let's say you find a URL with someone's social security and birth date and all their information. You can plug it into the website. It does a SHA-152 hash on it, and it stores, SHA-512 hash on it, and it stores that in a database, and it also basically gives you a template, an email template that you can send out to the person to notify them. So it's pretty cool. We're basically trying to track all the websites that we're finding sensitive information on, so we're not notifying the same person 100 different times. So and it is pretty cool when you get the email template. We've spent a lot of work on trying to get the message across to people. We don't want people to get an email saying your identity's been stolen or anything. We're trying to make it so the email is so specific that they will open up the email. So it'll say something like your social security number, date of birth, your name, address, all found on this specific website. So people will know that it's actually legitimate. I'm not trying to phish individuals. We don't want people to think that they're being phished either. So at this point, we've sent out over 50 notifications to people. We really weren't sure how it would be received. We thought that maybe a couple people would open up the emails. We weren't sure if people would actually take down the information. But what's really cool is that a lot of people actually responded to us. They said, thank you so much for notifying us. They actually took down the information, and people were really grateful that we notified them that their information was out there. So it's been pretty cool. We've gotten a lot of feedback. I mean, some people definitely just took their information down without responding to us, but a good portion of people actually responded and said, thank you guys for everything that you're doing. So we definitely need a lot of things. Just like Zack said, we're here to tell you what we're doing just as much as we want feedback from you guys. And we definitely need people. We need people to help search for sensitive information. I mean, we're only a few people. We can't do all this ourselves. And we've gotten to the point where we have found quite a bit of information on people online, and it just takes a while to get the notifications out. So we definitely need help notifying people that their information's out there. Like we said, we have the email template, so it's pretty easy. But there are times where we'll find a lot of information on somebody, but we won't find their email address or phone number. So it takes a little bit of digging to find that, especially if you find a data dump of 100 or so individuals. It takes a little while to get those notifications out there. So we definitely we spent some time on using scripts and tools to find all this information. We've used pastemon, dumpmon, search diggity. If you saw Tim's talk yesterday on Recon NG, I mean, this is something that could have helped on this as well. So we spent some time doing that, but a lot of it is really just notifying people. We also need content contributors, how to protect your identity. We didn't want to mention any products on our site because we're not affiliated with any of them, but we thought if anyone has any ideas on information on how to protect your identity, that would be really helpful. On our site, we do have information on how to request your information be removed from the different search engines or archive.org, but we definitely could use some help on that. And translators also, we've made most of our notifications in English, but we have sent notifications out in other languages just because we know people that speak other languages, and we're trying to have as much impact as possible. So we find someone's information, we know that they're a native Italian speaker, we could try to get the message across the best way by speaking in their native language. So any of you that speak other languages, that could definitely help us out as well. Web developers, designers, like I said before, we have a very basic website. If you go to the site, you'll definitely see, but it's functional. So any of you do web design, that would be helpful. I mean, the whole back end was we wrote it in Python, and I used the WebPy framework, but I'm also having some issues with our hosting provider in that framework. So if any of you have ever used it, I could definitely use some help. I'll give you shirt, beer, whatever you want to help us get that up and running. So that'd be really helpful. So yes, I know we sound very needy. There's a lot of needs on here. But we do have some challenges that we need to overcome. Like I said, recipients opening emails, we want to make the emails as specific as possible. I don't know if any of you saw the phishing talk yesterday by, I think it was Son of Shirt, where he's talking about having to make the emails specific as possible so people open them. I mean, we started off with a very basic email and realized not many people were responding, but we started getting really more specific with our emails, and we've seen that more people are opening them when we say your social is found here. So that's right. I really don't like telling people to click on links, but we're telling them specifically, here is your information. And I mean, a lot of times people put up their own information, they just don't realize what people can do with that. So also another challenge, like I said, is data dumps. We usually tell people exactly where their information is found, but if it's if there's 1,000 people's sensitive information on a site, we don't want to tell people, here's a list of 1,000 credit cards and all of your information. So we try to be as specific as possible on the data dumps and say your information is found, but we don't tell them exactly where it is, and we usually just try to get the paste bin or something to take the site down. So, but we could definitely use some help on better ideas on how to accomplish that. It's also tough because we want to get people notified as soon as possible and get the site taken down, but it does take a while to get through all the individuals on there. So,
excuse me, John already mentioned that we're trying to track so we don't spam people, and kind of along with this in the next point, with helping without hurting the people. In addition, is doing this in a way that's secure. So we're hashing everything. We're not storing any of the URLs. We're not storing any of the files for certain. So right now we're just doing it in the database and working on getting that WebPy set up with the scripts to track better. And then one of the questions along with that is, as we track, at what point do we resend a notification, or do we resend a notification? Not everybody takes their stuff down, and with multiple people, especially if all you guys get involved and start searching and notifying, a lot of us are going to find the same stuff. So that's kind of a question. Remember, T-shirts, participation. Now or later is fine. Love to hear your thoughts on that. And then, like I said, helping without becoming a problem. I mean, none of us are completely immune to getting our boxes popped. So let's make sure that we're not hoarding, 100 doctors' social security numbers, and we end up being the perfect target. So some of these suggestions, I'm sure a lot of you are already doing. We don't download the files. They're going to get cached on your computer just by the nature of web browsers and how we do this. But don't download it. Don't store it. Clear your cache. Use a VM that you can reset to snapshot. encrypt your storage device in case it does get stolen, and you haven't cleaned your cache, or use something like Tails, that just doesn't write to disk at all. And then we could also use legal advice. We reached out to the EFF and didn't really get anything definitive. This is small potatoes. They have much bigger stuff going on. But as far as we know, we're not doing anything wrong or that would create liability for us. But we're not lawyers, despite the fact that both of us have worked for lawyers. Yeah, we're not, thankfully. So now's the time. Questions, comments, heckling, mockery, T-shirts. There's our contact information. So let's have it.
Yeah, actually, the few data dumps that we sent to Pastebin, they took it down pretty quickly. So that was encouraging. I think it's just abuse@pastebin.com. So they're pretty good about it.
Are you finding like the same people or the same criminals doing stuff? Or you find the jobs that look the same or with the same like tag or something, or the same site always happens to be moving information? Is there centralized sources for it, or is it still really going through?
So the question was, are we seeing, I guess, correlations on the data that we're finding, the same people dumping information or finding the same information on similar locations? So, I mean, we have found quite a bit of things on Pastebin. We find that it's pretty common for doctors that are, I guess, older than, in their 50s. A lot of them, I guess that generation used to put a lot of information on their CVs, their social security numbers and all of that. So we see a lot of people just not knowing that information is that sensitive. But we see the younger doctors have not put that information out there, or they try to hide parts of that information. So it has been interesting seeing different generations treating their information slightly different.
So the question is, are they accidental or malicious? Most of the incidents, and the reality is a lot of it that we've seen so far, and there have been some data dumps, but a lot of it is doctors, and that's kind of the way we started with this. And there's just so much of it that we haven't gotten past those. I mean, those search strings in Google are still returning new results. So it's accidental or intentional without malicious intent. So a lot of them are third-party sites or the doctor's actual employer, just saying like, hey, look how awesome our doctors are, including the social security number and credit report, I guess. He has great credit and you can have it. But no, it's just the nature of it with the CVs. They send them to people when they speak at events, and they'll publish the CV. One of them was like a forensic psychologist, and it was published on a court site. You hire this expert witness and steal his credit. So yeah, a lot of it is accidental though. So Chris, who's not here, had done some work with some of the scripting, Dumbmon and some of those that were on one of the earlier slides. I personally haven't. One of the problems with the scripting that Chris ran into was that, so Pastemon, Dumbmon, Search Digging, one of the problems he ran into is it goes out and it grabs, so it downloads the data, which we'd like to not do, and then it opens it up and parses it. Well, there's still malware out there, and pretty quickly, he infected a box, and so he had some more work to get that virtualized and stuff like that. So there's that part of scripting it too. So, but it can be done. The two of us haven't really done it. Chris has.
So were you like doing the search string through Google?
Yes. I think that's. I'm actually clicking the links when I do it, and actually looking at it, manually.
Well, I ran into this when I was running a file, and I basically scraped the page for Google, so
Okay, that'd be awesome. Anybody else?
Questions?
Yeah. I do. I use an Ubuntu VM that after I open up so many, I just reset it to a snapshot. So, and yeah, I mean, please get involved. I mean, we'd love to see y'all get involved and do it the way you want to do it. We'd love to see you, participate in the tracking part of it. So, like I said, we don't end up spamming a lot of people, but.
I mean, and it's pretty cool. People are really grateful for it, especially a lot of the accidental ones. I mean, people are, really happy that we're notifying them about it. So, in our profession, we tend to find a lot of this information, and we don't tend to do a lot about it, especially for people that aren't part of, major companies or anything. So, yeah, this is perfect framework for doing it. I mean, we have the site set up so you can just put in the link, and it'll tell you if someone's already notified the person or not, and already creates the email template for you. So it's pretty easy. Any other questions? Anyone else want T-shirts? T-shirts or questions? Awesome. Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I think if we start finding correlation with a lot of the data that we're finding, or we find that an organization is putting a lot of socials out for something like you said, for licensures, yeah, we would definitely notify them at that point. I don't think we've come across any that have done that with at least the social, date of birth, and that information on public websites. But if we do, that's a great idea. And you'll get a T-shirt. Yeah.
Other fields like driver's license stuff, maybe like custom keyword for the user saying for PHI, hey, if you see my broken leg or something like all my data, you should provide that.
Yeah. You're talking about searching based off that information, or
Other information.
yeah. Yeah, no, we've notified people that have had their driver's license information out there. The social is one of the more common ones, but there's other identifying information that we have notified people about. So, yeah, we're trying to figure out which ones to list on the website to put in the notification, but there were so many different types of them. We weren't sure exactly which one we should put on there. But yeah, that's a good idea. Any other questions?